he goes on this tirade of saying like, yeah, this dude Jeff just emailed us like saying, oh, your time doesn't count. He's just ripping on this guy named Jeff. I haven't even looked at the committee to figure out who exactly Jeff is.
Hello, and welcome to the Stride Report podcast. I am Ben Weisel, and joining me, as always, Garrett. How's it going, man?
Someone send help. I am not in a good place right now. The 20 hours of work I put in this past weekend to cover this weekend was man, it's always, everyone thinks like, oh, nationals is always the hardest time. No, it's this, because only one person can win each of the distance races at the national meet. This, it's like everyone runs fast. It's all time trials. There's multiple wins. There's national qualifying scenarios to talk about. This is without question the hardest weekend to cover of the entire year, because there's multiple events, multiple meets. It's not just the national meet where it's usually not super fast. Oh man, this was a tough one. This was an exceptionally difficult weekend.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I can relate it to is like when nationals are all like on the D1, D2, D3 level are all going on in the same time. But yeah, this is indoor. Like it's super condensed. Like all these weekends matter so much. All the best runners are competing and going for qualifying times, which are getting ridiculously fast year in and year out. So this is, I mean, just we have this marked in our calendar. It's always going to be crazy.
Yeah, it is. And what's also crazy is the fact that we didn't get any ratings and reviews on Apple and Spotify. Great transition by me, but not so great development by our listeners. So 5-star ratings and reviews on Apple, on Spotify. Ben, we have no time to dilly-dally and to do any of the small talk. We have so much to go over. There were some ridiculous things that we had to cut off from our rundown that we just simply do not have the time to talk about. So everyone work with us. Where did you even want to begin to start?
Yeah, we're going to just try to escape from this mountain of results, and we're going to start with an NCAA record, just a destruction of the NCAA record, and that was in the women's mile. Riley Chamberlain 4:20, beating presumptive national title favorite Wilma Nielsen 4:21. And phenom BYU runner Jane Hendegren 4:22. Just an absolutely ridiculous race. And I mean, we felt like the record was going to go down, right? I don't think we had any worries that we were going to see a 4:10 type of race, a 4:19, 4:18, anything like that. Never in our wildest dreams did we see that coming. And you know what? Riley Chamberlain scared us a little bit with her 4:20.
Pretty wild. Weird race. It's not a race that you will ever see again, mainly on the national stage. There was multiple pacers, and like there was different pacing for different times, but Nielsen still went with El St. Pierre, which I didn't fully understand. I was like, they're gunning for what, a 4:14, I think it was initially, and she's following them. I'm like, hey, I believe in you. I don't believe in you that much. So it was a little weird, a lot of weird surges and changes, but Chamberlain 4:20. Is it fair to say that despite this record, Nielsen is still the mile national title favorite?
I think so. I mean, if she had run it like Chamberlain and lost, then I think there's a discussion to be had. But the fact that she went full out, again, going for something in the it would have been, again, not 4:14, but not close, not far from it if St. Pierre had hung on and she had been nearby. The fact that she went for that, I think, is, and still runs 4:21, I think is still encouraging for Nielsen. I think this race says nothing about Nielsen's chances. No one's running 4:20 lows at the national meet. Like, this is not the type of race you're going to be seeing. And we already know that Nielsen is great in more tactical settings, and this just proves she's as fit as everyone in the country except maybe one. And even that, you could make an argument that her going out hard proves that maybe she is even fitter than Chamberlain if she would have run a little bit more of a conservative race.
What does this say about Chamberlain? Let me put it this way. Between Chamberlain and Nielsen, who is the better runner and who is the more valuable runner?
I mean, I think it's definitely Chamberlain for your more valuable, the amount of things that she can do for you. I mean, she can be fourth place in a cross country national meet and run the NCAA record in the mile, run great 5K, 3K times as well. I think that's undoubted. I think from a who do you think is going to win you more like points at nationals? I mean, I guess if Chamberlain doubles up, then maybe that's potential, but you would still feel good about Nielsen. And I think that's where you land as the better, more complete runner in her event, not complete in the sense of it can push herself to different distances.
I completely agree. I still view Nielsen as the mile national title favorite. I think Chamberlain now certainly has an argument to at least win the national title. That argument's very clearly there. So basically, and maybe even more so than it was before, you do have to wonder, does Chamberlain do the DMR 3K again? And it's like, and it's almost like, well, at that point, why? Like, you had done it twice. Like, why? You know, do we need to do this a third time? So we'll see what happens there. Hedegren, don't think we necessarily learned anything about her. This is exactly what I predicted for her. I predicted that she would run 422. She ran 422. Thought she would, frankly, just be the top collegian. She was not. But I don't necessarily think anyone thinks less of her because of that. But I don't think it also changes the scenario there. What are there any other major takeaways from this race? Like, it's hard, I guess, because when you have a time trial race like this that just simply isn't going to be shown at the national meet, it's hard to find the relationship between the two.
Yeah, I mean, I think for Chamberlain, I mean, this just shows that her, like, again, we've seen this before, but her at her peak is just as good as almost anyone in the country. And we saw that again this weekend. And yeah, I agree with you. Like, I want to see her in the mile because I do think in a kind of a crazy way, even after us talking about Nielsen being so great, that's her best chance at a national title in a lot of ways. And because you're going against Lemengol and Hedegren in the 3K and the 5K, go against Nielsen. You only got one big favorite to go against. And I mean, she proved this week that she can beat her. Now, would I bet on her to win at nationals? No, but like she's certainly clearly the second best out of anyone else in the country.
I would agree on that. Let's move off of that. In that same meet, Boston U Valentine invite, Florida freshman Claire Stegall, 425. I was high on her. A couple people were high on her, but 425 in the mile to kind of dominate a very good second heat where a lot of women went under 430. That's pretty special. Like that's suddenly like, whoa, here's a woman with like a lot of youth-based upside. She was a high school star. 425 is cooking. What do we think about that kind of performance relative to what everyone else has been running?
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that she runs it on this weekend when you have so many sub 425 marks that we're not going to be able to give this the shine that it deserves. But yeah, I'm very curious to see what we get from her at SECs, and I think you mentioned that in the First Thoughts article. I think that's what is going to be a really interesting test for her in a more tactical environment. How does she show up, and is she able to look as strong as she did this past weekend in a more time trial environment? I think that's really your only question that you have for Stegall in terms of, hey, is she someone that could make a run at an All-American position as a true freshman? If she can put together a solid SECs, bring home a title, make it through the rounds cleanly. And I think that's a conversation that you start having.
I agree. And then that's the thing. It's like where I want to offer more analysis on that, but like there's only so much you can offer for a woman who has run, she's a freshman, B has run 241 in the 1K and split 315, a really impressive 315 on the opening leg of Florida's DMR, right? Like outside of this mile race, there's not really been a lot of national there's not been a lot of like events and races and times that the rest of the NCAA has also contested at a super high level consistently. So it will be interesting, but I think ultimately it's just, we don't know a lot about her. Now, one woman who we do know a bit more about is Sadie Engelhardt, NC State freshman. Everyone knows her. 423 mile at JDL's new bank track, no longer flat track, bank track at the ASICS Sound Running Invite. Runner up in a pro laden field, runs just exceptionally well, knows like when to kick, surged at the proper time, got herself out of some messiness with about 800, probably more 600 meters to go. I thought it was a really well executed race. It's the second time that I've seen Engelhardt run very well and have a very composed race in a field of a lot of pros and high caliber stars. And she really puts together a great finish for the second time this season. I'm getting very close to saying that she is a All-American favorite, if not a clear All-American favorite.
Yeah, I think she absolutely has to be a favorite at this point. This was important after a little bit of a blip in her last performance. And now she's back to where she was at the beginning of the year, 423, even better than what she was at the beginning of the year. So, yeah, I agree with you. It's hard for me to imagine that there's going to be 8 other women that are better suited for the rounds and for the final in the mile than Engelhardt at this point. She just, despite her lack of experience, the amount of high quality races that we've seen from her just in this season alone would indicate to me that she's going to be more than prepared for the national meet.
What's her ceiling at the national meet in terms of placement? Like how high
Third.
can she place? Oh, I've said 4th, but yeah. And I kind of can't believe, like, I want to say, like, I can't believe I'm saying that about a freshman, but if there was ever a freshman that I could say that about, it would be Engelhardt, right? And everyone's like, oh, well, you just say that because she's stupid talented. And she is stupid talented. She's crazy talented. But like, it's the intangibles. It is the nuances, her tactics, her ability to respond to certain moves, her ability to kick off of really fast paces. Like, she has every nuance that you could want in a freshman. And that's what makes her so dangerous. You would think she's like, a rookie, inexperienced, but like, she's been in major races before the NCAA. So I am a very, very big fan of Engelhardt right now. Also, someone who's on a complete heater of a hot streak right now, Billah Jepkirui, Oklahoma State, clocks 422 in the mile. That is an NCAA number 4 all-time all conditions, I want to say. Maybe 3? I think it's all number 4, though, all-time all conditions on Washington's oversized 300-meter plus track. And then behind her in that same race, Boise State's Kaiya Robertson. 424 out of nowhere, frankly. I know she ran 428 earlier in the season, but 424. What % chance would you give Jepkirui to win the national title in the mile right now? Reminder, she has run 845 in the 3K this season, split 427 on Oklahoma State's DMR during that same weekend. This was all 2 weeks ago. She has run 427 open prior to this race, and she was runner-up in the mile at the 2024 NCAA Indoor Championships. What % chance would you give her to win the mile national title right now?
I think I'm going to give her like a 15% chance to win. And I know that sounds low, but I think Nielsen is still like almost like a 50-50 at this point, or even 60% chance of winning. I think Chamberlain's right up there as well in terms of, hey, like a 25-30% chance to win. And really what we're saying is it's going to come from one of these 3 women, right? The NCAA title. Anybody else, it would be pretty stunning. And to your point, like, we've seen signs of Jepkirui coming back and being back to where the level that she was at before. And again, we're not talking about times necessarily. This is the fastest time she's ever run, but just her place in the NCAA. And she is back to where she was before. And it is, I mean, super exciting to see. She has the experience. She has the tactical know-how. And that, I think, ultimately is why, hey, we just needed to see you were fit enough to compete. And she clearly cleared that bar of she is fit enough to be able to go in and tackle any kind of challenge, beat any type of runner with this kind of 422 performance.
I would have put her about a 10%. I just, you do have to wonder, like, and like, I think Nielsen is such a complete miler and such a perfect miler that I just struggle to see anyone really touching her. I could give her like a 50-60% chance to win, and that's with Chamberlain having like a 25% chance to win, and Jepkirui having a 10% chance, and the rest of the field, maybe Engelhardt has a 5% chance, right? Like there's things of that nature where I'm like, I just struggle to see that happening. And yet it's not that Jepkirui is tactically incapable. It's not that she isn't tactically savvy. She may not have the same kick, but what I have loved about Jepkirui, and this is like going back to before she was absent for, over a year, but what I always loved about seeing her is that she was very aware of her own strengths. She was outstanding at positioning. She knew that she needed to maybe go and make her move a little bit further out than what was usually the case for maybe some women. She maybe kind of knew that she didn't have that last 100, 200 meter speed. And she has always positioned herself incredibly, incredibly well to find success on major fields and in fast races. So I think I think there are still questions of like, hey, where exactly is she now in terms of having that tactical nuance and understanding? But like, she's fit enough to win the national title, and baseline, that's really important as we kind of prepare for the month of March. I think she's incredibly dangerous. Kaiya Robertson, 424. What do we have? What do we do here? How do we process this result?
Yeah, I mean, when you have nearly half of the projected field running 424 or faster, it's hard to contextualize this, right? I mean, 424 is this amazing mark, but it's just like, yeah, you're going to be someone who is right in the mix of qualifying for finals, right? And that's a pretty ridiculous thing to say.
How likely is she more likely than not to be an All-American?
Yes, I would say so. Yes,
you think she is?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm there yet, to be honest.
Because I'm thinking like you got 4 or 5 locks probably. And then, well, maybe 5 or 6 locks. And then I think there's like 2 or 3 spots that I think I would put her towards the higher end of those than I think the rest of the group. It's tight though.
I mean, I trust Chamberlain more. I trust Nielsen more. Hedegren will not run this.
Yeah.
I think I trust Jepkirui more. Engelhardt I trust more. Ayeldes I trust more. Forster I trust more. Yeah,
maybe.
It's close.
Yeah.
It's close. Rosemary Longisa, I don't know how we feel about her yet.
I feel like you have to put her pretty high up there considering everything that she's been doing this year.
Agree. I agree. Yeah, okay. Man, and the problem is that like right now the back end of this women's mile field isn't like that exciting. Like it's just not.
I mean, it's either inexperienced or it's people who have just really vaulted up to a different level than they've been at in most of their career.
I mean, I think we're going to see a couple scratches. Like Hedegren will scratch.
Yeah.
And then you could like argue like, well, maybe Longisa scratches for the 800, and Shalon I don't think will scratch despite this. Forster, I still don't think she'll scratch regardless. Salma,
yeah, I don't know if we're going to see that many scratches, to be honest. Like, I think we'll see a couple, but I think it's going to be under 20 women. Like, you have to be at least
so
like
is Vera
19.
Sojberg your last? Who's the last person in right now? Is it Sojberg at 19?
I think probably Zealand.
Except you don't think she's going to run. No, I don't think she's going to run. I don't think she's going to run. Excuse me.
Yeah, probably not. That's fair. So yeah, maybe Sojberg then. But I mean, she might not even run the mile. Like,
no,
you think
she'll run the mile? Well, I guess she could run the 3. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. She doubled back so effectively at outdoor nationals.
Yeah,
that's like now.
Might
that
as well
said,
try it again.
This year's 3K is going to be way more competitive than the women's outdoor 5K.
Yes, absolutely. Well, and speaking of 3Ks, why don't we move on to the men's 3K, where we saw Marco Langon 734, holding off and maybe impeding Colton Sands, 734 for just two incredible performances there. Taeyeon Kitching running 736, nearly looking like he was going to run away from the field at a point, but settles for a sparkling 736 performance all the same. The end of this race is what we have to talk about here. I mean, Colton Sands, 734, this is a fantastic run for him. This is I think, way better than any expectation that we had for him. Kitchen, same thing. Langon, this feels about right. 734, nothing surprising here. The way that this came down to the end, though, with Langon just trying everything he could to hold off, and at like his very last step, basically just falling down right into Colton Sands' path, and ultimately taking home the victory. There was no DQ, which I actually agree with. Like, I don't see any reason to DQ in this kind of setting. Now, if this was a championship race, that's a DQ, in my mind.
So you think the setting should matter?
I think a little bit. Yeah.
Interesting. By the letter of the law, it should have been a DQ.
Yes, exactly. I agree.
By the letter of the law, it should have been a DQ. I am like, there's a difference. There's a very fine line and a challenging line to reconcile of what is fair, which is Langon probably should have been DQ'd, versus what makes sense, which is there was no need to DQ him, because this race is all about times, and that you have that perspective. The law, the rule book technically shouldn't really care about what the setting is and what the circumstances is. So, like, as a fan, I'm glad they didn't DQ him. But it also, if I'm at UNC, I'm pissed. I am pissed right now if I'm UNC. I'm like, that's my guy. He should have won this race. Langon got in his way, blah, 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 right? Like, I kind of get it. I kind of get it if I'm them. But yeah, I don't, it's a very, very fine line. And it's also like, let me ask you this. Are you definitively 100% certain that Sands would have won this race if Langon didn't get in his way?
No.
I'm also not 100% definitive and certain of that.
And honestly, like, I get, like, hey, if Sands is frustrated and upset, I would be frustrated and upset after that, right? If I'm like Coach Miltenberg, I don't know if I'm throwing up like a big stink about this. Like, I honestly, like, in a lot of ways, hey, you ran a great time. You know, you feel like you could have beaten him, but this gives you extra motivation when you face him at nationals. Like, I'm not like, I mean, again, Coach Miltenberg knows more than anything I've forgotten when it comes to running, but I honestly wouldn't be throwing up that big of a stink about any of this.
The post-race interview, did you happen to catch? I don't know how much you caught.
No, I didn't see that.
The clip of him. So he's talking about like why he ran the 3K again, and it's because the New Balance Indoor Grand Prix did not feature enough collegians for their times and their marks to be considered national qualifying eligible. So both him and Oregon Shalana Yildiz both ran the 3K again. Both, funny enough, running the exact same times that they ran at New Balance Indoor Grand Prix. It's almost like they're that good. Who would have thought? So wow. Anyways, he goes on this tirade. Could you imagine this guy, Jeff? He goes on this tirade on this interview. Why? Can we clip this in? Can we clip this in there? That'd be great. Thank you.
You know, just need to get the qualifying time. Some dude named Jeff, who's like one of the head of the NCAA qualifying people, he emailed my coach a week ago, said some shit like my time didn't count because there weren't enough collegiates in the race, but you know, I got the time regardless, so it don't matter.
So that's when you found out that time from New Balance wasn't going to count?
Yeah, because some random ass dude, Jeff, was like, oh, yeah, your time doesn't count, blah, 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 all that bullshit, you know, but at the end of the day, I don't care. I don't care who it is, what it is. I'm here for the smoke, all of it. That's it.
He goes on this tirade of saying, like, yeah, this dude, Jeff, just emailed us, like, saying, oh, your time doesn't count. He's just ripping on this guy named Jeff. I haven't even looked at the committee to figure out who exactly Jeff is. But he's just digging and burning at Jeff. And could you imagine Jeff at home being like the little Sasquatch video of the guy getting drafted? Like, me? So I thought it was a very funny interview. It was very entertaining. Go check it out on our website, our YouTube. We have it on YouTube there.
Yeah, and like again, I agree with him. It's stupid, but also those are the rules. Like NCAA is gonna follow the rules. Like don't be blaming Jeff. I don't know Jeff, but don't be blaming my man Jeff because it's the NCAA and their rules.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
my homie's fake Jeff. Yeah, but no, it was the most impressive part of this race. Tavon Kitchen, BYU, 600 meters to go, makes such a ridiculously aggressive move. Langon is struggling. Like he's on in the hurt locker. He is struggling and I can't believe he hung on and rallied for the second gear that he found that late into the race. But BYU true freshman Tavon Kitchen bursts to the line and bursts with 600 meters to go and pushes it on two experienced long distance veterans. After the race, Langon, I guess, is like, give him like a congratulatory hug and says some pretty explicit language, which is basically saying you have a lot of guts, you got a lot of courage, but it wasn't that language. You can go check out that clip on our Instagram, actually. What does this tell you about Langon, Sands, and Kitchen, if anything?
For Langon, I don't think it says too much, except for like not quite the overwhelming victory that you would have thought he would have had against this type of field. For Sands, I think this shows, hey, he's ready to go head to head with almost anybody in the country. Like, I mean,
can he win the national title?
Yes, I think he can. Like,
really,
and I think
the national title?
Think he went from a 0% chance to like a 2% chance. I think there is a world where he does win it now. And again, it's not high.
That's so insulting to be like, I believe Colton Sands can win the national title. Really, Ben? What percent chance would you give him? 2%, but like I believe in him.
Hey, it was 0 coming into this weekend. He increased his odds.
It was 0. I will say I said all the right things about him before the race. He ran 7:39 last year, had national meet experience, clearly has improved overall. 13:17 in the 5K back in December, 3:54 in the mile last month. I want to say he had all the momentum. The 3K was his prime event. Perfect. I thought he would run 7:37, 7:34 though. Thought he executed perfectly. Didn't let all the crazy moves and chaos around him. It was one of the most complete and perfectly executed races I have seen this season. Point blank, period. I thought it was a fantastic race by him. Kitchen is just a dog. I mean, I didn't think he had that kind of turnover for 3K as a freshman. Just didn't.
And the way that he took the lead, it wasn't like he was hanging on to the front pack and then just passed everybody. He was leading the second pack where there was a little bit of a gap between the first group and the second group. He not only closed that very quickly, but then vaulted himself to the lead, which, I mean, this kid has, I mean, he has a ton of grit and he's not going to win any national titles in the next couple of years, but he's going to give himself a shot at them. He's going to put himself in that position. And I don't think he's good enough quite yet to be able to close the deal on any of those. But I mean, he is unafraid of anyone in the NCAA.
Yeah. But this also is like a classic, like, wow, really impressive, very courageous move. Tactically, not a smart move. 600 meters to go, 600. You are facing 2 established long distance veterans, and that's when you're going to make the move. Like, I know he doesn't have a lot of like turnover, like late race turnover or anything like that, but in that scenario, they're going to get him. Although I guess like what else do you do? Like if
I honestly didn't hate the move for him.
Actually, now that I think about it, it's actually probably not that bad of a move.
Yeah. I think he's going to be the kind of guy, if he wins these races, that is going to be like early mid-career Nico Young, where you just kind of got to go from far out and just pray that you put enough of a gap and before anybody can come and get you.
Is that his comp, Nico Young?
Remarkably, yes.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's probably Nico Young. That's pretty cool. Yeah. I'm moving us off of that. Handal Roban of Penn State goes to A6 Sound running invite. Same race as Cooper Lukenhouse. Lukenhouse goes wire to wire and wins it. But the only guy to really at least give him a chase in that final lap was Penn State's Handal Roban. 144.73. 0.03 off from Colin Solmon's NCAA record from 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. This national title battle is going to be so cool. I'm assuming Solomon runs the 800.
He has to. Yeah, he has to.
Does he?
Yes,
Does he have to?
He has to.
Who? I mean, look at a mile field right now. Who's running that like Solomon would be scared of?
Yeah, I mean, especially considering Martin has kind of been MIA a little bit. I mean, I guess
Martin is tough, but like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think Martin is if you get a good like full speed ahead Martin, I think Solomon's not touching him. But everybody else in this field, I think he could be. I just think his best event is the 800, and I think if you have, I mean, Roban is amazing, but I think he has to feel good about everybody going against anybody else in that field as well.
It's fair enough. Yeah, it's fair. What % chance would you give Roban to win the national title?
If I give him like a 35% chance and like Solomon a 40% chance, and then and maybe that's even too low. Is it like 40 and 44, and then everybody else gets like a 6% chance?
I honestly, I think it's like Roban 45, Solomon 50, everyone else collectively as the field gets 5%.
Yeah, it would be stunning to see anybody but them at this point, right? Yeah, I don't think we learned too much about Roban. It's good to see him be able to do sub 145 twice in 1 year. And then I'm just kind of excited to see Big Tens, right? Big Ten should be fun. The Oregon guys, his own teammates. I mean, there's a lot of quality in the 800 in the Big Ten. Well, I mean,
Erickson is not in a national qualifying position right now.
Nope.
And he's going to have to find a time sooner rather than later in order to get up there. He ran 146.88 this past weekend, but he's sitting at NCAA number 20. So he needs to move up at least 4 spots to guarantee himself a spot. And everyone else who I'm looking at here is like the only guy who maybe doesn't run it is Solomon. And that's it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Erickson's going to have to, I mean, and he's done this before, though, like where he peaks at the right time, peaks at conference championships, but he's going to need that, and he's going to need to come through.
Sure, but if you're in a tactical race, he might be the best tactician among 800 meter runners in the NCAA right now.
Yeah.
But is Penn State going to make it slow for him at Big Tens?
No, and I think that's good. He wants them to make it fast for him so they can get that time, right? And I think there might be some team tactics there to get a quick time, whether it's in prelims even or in the final.
Agreed. I agree. Moving off of that, staying with actually Penn State runners, Hayley Kitching. She had been eyeing sub 2. She had said she had wanted sub 2. She gets sub 2, 159.22 over 800 meters at the Husky Classic, again on the oversized track. And with her, she brings with her Rosemary Longisa of Washington State, 159. Julia Whitaker of Stanford, 159. Washington's Chloe Forster, 159. I'll say it. Hayley Kitching is the 800-meter national title favorite right now. I don't know what else.
I mean, she just beat the presumptive national title favorite,
right?
By half
I just don't know.
So yeah, you're probably not wrong. I think it's crazy that we're here, but I agree with you.
Everything that we've seen from her, she's run super fast in time trial open track races where no one's contesting her. We've seen her run super fast against elite competition, which was this past weekend, sub 2. She's the NCAA now record holder over 1,000 meters. All the intangibles are there. Again, maybe we do want to see how she fares in something a little bit slower, but I don't know what more she needs to do. She looks just like the flat out best. She's not unstoppable. She's not like unbeatable, but she's flat out best right now in the NCAA. And I would,
she's like a favorite that has like a 30% chance or 25% chance to win rather than a 40, 50, right? But yeah, you're right. And in the 800, we don't see that be a tactical race very often, right?
No.
I mean, I mean, maybe you have a slower first 400, but I mean, you still end up running too flat usually in a lot of these races or around there. So I mean, you have to feel like she, again, with her experience, the way that she's been able to handle herself tactically in these type of races, it's not going to be too dissimilar. I mean, the only thing that you would maybe call out is she did this on a 300-meter track, which is a little bit of a different type of race than when you're doing on 200-meter bank track. But I mean, we're kind of grasping at straws for things to criticize her at this point.
No, I'm with you, and like I 100% see it. So yeah, she was great. Rosemary Longisa, 159. She was also run 424 this season. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen someone with this kind of range, considering how good she was in cross country on the women's side. Like, I mean, it's just that. Like, I'm sure there's someone who's had great range, but like, this is like pretty next level, no?
Yeah, I mean, this is, what was it, Danny Jones from Colorado? Oh, yeah. Like that's like the only thing. You win an NCAA title on the grass, you come back, you win an NCAA title in the mile or 15. I can't remember which one she won, but and then could obviously run a fast 800. It feels like Longisa is right up there with her, which is pretty remarkable considering how early on in her career she is at. But there really doesn't seem like anything she can't do. And she's going head to head with some of the best women in the country in each of these events. And maybe she's not winning all of them, but she's won her fair share of these battles across a lot of different events.
I would agree. She's been incredibly talented. Whitaker, 159, but got third. Is there a concern?
No. I think she's still like right 1B to Kitching's 1A. In my mind, with Whitaker, she's always been someone where you just need to see that she's fit enough, and you just, as long as she's like in good enough shape, you just show up at the national meet, and she should be ready to go. Now I know she didn't run well last time we saw her at a national meet or a regional meet, but I would expect you put her in at NCAAs, and she's going to be one of the top 2 or 3 runners at the end of the day.
Forrester, 159, great run from her. Not super shocked. Don't think she'll run the 8. I think she'll run the mile.
No. Yeah.
Separately at Tyson Invite in Arkansas, Sanu Jallow-Lockhart on the track that'll be hosting the national championships, 159.76. She looks better. She looks like herself now. Like last spring, didn't look like herself, but she's run the NCAA 600-meter record this season. She ran 2:01 to beat a very strong Miami duo earlier on that same track. 159 now. Can she win the national title?
No, I don't.
No,
you
don't think so.
I mean, I guess I should say yes, because I said Colton Sands can win it with a couple % chance. I think there is a couple % chance that Sanu Jallow can. The race would have to.
Was it 1% if you're gonna try to?
Yeah. No, I think she's got a couple % chance, but I just don't. I would be surprised to see her win the title just because of the way that she likes to run races, and I don't think that's super conducive. She needs to be a 157 like high woman to be able to run races the way that she does and win a national title. Like, she has to be so much better than the rest of the field to do that. Unless she changes her tactics. I think
157 high would be a bit aggressive, but I get what you're saying. Like,
yeah. 158 low. Like, yeah, she just needs to be clearly better.
158.4 is the NCAA record for indoors.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, you got 158.8, you got 159.2 right behind her. I mean, this is the era that we're living in, where you would have to be like to front run an 800 when you have this many women that can just tail you and run past you. You have to be elite.
I would agree that her racing style is not conducive to winning a national title, and I agree that there's too much talent in the women's 800 just to run away from them in terms of the display of natural fitness. But I do think this is probably the best shit that she's ever looked on the indoor oval.
Yeah.
Just as a collective season. And I think we're also underestimating the fact that for whatever it's worth, this is going to be her home track that hosts the national title, the national championships. So it's like, I think she's a favorite? No, I don't. There's a few tactical things that kind of, as you hinted at, I think need to be better, but no, I think she's, I wouldn't totally put it out of her to win the national title.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Obviously, I mean, has performed very well on this track in years past. So it's hard to argue there. Moving on though, let's go on to the 5K on the women's side, where this is crazy to say, one of the least surprising results of the weekend, and that was Doris Lemmengel's 14:51 in the 5K. I would love to give this a little bit more shine. It was a great performance, but is there anything else we need to say here?
Not even a little bit. Great run.
The more interesting part of the 5Ks that we saw this past weekend, though, was Edna Chelulei of Eastern Kentucky running 15:05. Kind of out of nowhere, and beating a very, very good field. Iska Chilane got 15:07. Sophia Kennedy 15:07. Mercy Line Kirwa 15:09. The women's 5K is absolutely ridiculous. You have to run, what do we say, under 15:17 right now to qualify. And there are 9 women under 15:10 at this point. It's a ridiculous field. And for Chelulei to beat this field that she was going up against at Boston was a remarkable feat.
She's really good. Ran 8:51 over 3K earlier this winter, I should say. I want to say a couple of weeks ago, John Thomas Terrier Classic. Really good in the spring. But like 15:05 is just cooking. It's just a different level. Iska Chilane is one of the most naturally, like aerobically gifted runners in the NCAA right now. I think she's actually one of the most underrated runners. I think Kennedy's one of the more dangerous, just talented 5K runners, period. And Mercy Line Kirwa, again, another naturally gifted long distance runner. To beat those women, run as fast as she did, NCAA number 10 all time among all conditions. It was on an oversized track. Man, I mean, it is crazy impressive. And yet I still, I don't really know enough about Chelulei and Chilane and Mercy Line Kirwa to have a good understanding about what these performances mean for the national meet. But I will say, if Hedegren and if Lemmengal are going to be as aggressive and going to be as fast on the national stage over 5,000 meters, then these marks are a very, very good sign that women like Kirwa, women like Chelulei, women like Chilane can hang with them, at a fast pace.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I don't know how much we know about any of these women from a championship setting, but I don't think the 5K is, like you said, is going to be a championship type of setting. I think it's just going to be, hey, who has the most raw fitness? And Chelulei looks like she could be a top 4, top 5 finisher just based off of that in this performance. What was her 5K PR before this weekend?
I want to say, I know this. 15:05 was her newest one, so I want to say it was in the 15:30s. Was it 15:35?
Not far off. 15:42 at BU. So and it's not like she hasn't run 5Ks in the last year. She ran a lot of them this past outdoor season, with 15:43 being, or 15:30, being her best in the outdoor. So sorry, she has run 15:30. But this indoor season, her best time was 15:42. Okay. So, I mean, just a massive jump from where she was at before.
Yeah, no, that's pretty impressive. I'll be curious. I mean, unfortunately, I don't think we can offer a whole lot more analysis on that just because we don't know them in the national championship setting, like you mentioned. But one of the more interesting results that I thought really captured my attention, women's 3K at Husky Classic, Iowa State's Betty Kipkore, 8:44 to huge upset over New Mexico's Pamela Kosgei, 8:44. New Mexico's Marian Jepkirui, 8:45. Does this say more about Kipkore or more about Kosgei?
The interesting thing is, obviously, it's a fast time, but it's not a like lightning fast time. I think it probably tells us more about Kosgei. Like, I don't think she looked like one of the only people in the country that could really go with Lemengol and Hendegren, and she just has not really proven that this indoor season. And I think that's
in the fall too.
yeah, I mean, it just hasn't been to the level that she dropped off of from last outdoor season when it looked like she really could go up against anybody in the country. Yeah, I don't love. I mean, this is her first race of the indoor season since her 15:05 in the 5K, which again is a great performance, but miles off of Lemengol and Hendegren, right? So yeah, I think this probably tells us more that like Kosgei's a All-American favorite, but I don't think she's like any more than that in a lot of in the 3K or 5K this year.
Yeah, this is tricky. Like I think like Kipkore, the thing with her is I think she already ran what 15:15 this season. I could be wrong. So like we have a baseline understanding that she is ridiculously talented and ridiculously fast. Yeah, she ran 15:15. Yeah. Look at me. So I think there was already like a baseline understanding of like, hey, she's ridiculously talented, ridiculously fast. 8:44 nowadays like is like really, really quick, but it's not like, hey, you run 8:44 and now you are definitely an All-American favorite, like definitively speaking. So it's I think it says more about Kosgei of like, hey, you should be able to win this race.
Yes,
you should. And doesn't mean that she's not fit and doesn't mean that she can't be an All-American, but I think the idea of whatever, like her being a national title threat to Lemengol and Hendegren this season, it just isn't as prevalent as it was in the year past, prior year. Excuse me.
I totally agree. And Marian Jepkirui, 8:45, great run for her. Continues to stack good results there.
Yeah, she's been great.
Moving on to the women's DMR. The women put on a show this weekend. It is crazy. My wife was asking me, I was like, oh, did much happen this weekend? I was like, I mean, the women just ran incredibly well. The men had a few good performances, but man, the women across the board were lightning really quick. Good. And the DMR was no exception there.
Also, can I just interrupt real quick? Yeah. Can I just interrupt? Yeah, I love that your wife asked, did anything good happen this weekend? When you're like, what do you want to know? Like, do you want a little 800? Do you want a little 5K? Do you want a little mile in between? Like, yeah, actually everything good happened and then some. So sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
I started listing off results, and by the time I got to Roban, she had started zoning out, and I was like, yeah. I've gotten to 144, and there were too many other performances before that to keep her inches. This is the weekend that we're having. But sorry, on the DMR side, yeah, 10:45 for Washington, great run there. Again, not very surprising due to Forrester and Cochran being on that relay. Boston College, though, what the hell? 10:47. Do we have splits or anything? Because like I don't know how this happens. While you're looking at that, I'll run through the rest of the teams. Utah 10:47, very strong performance there. Stanford 10:49, not surprising in the slightest there. Villanova, good run, 10:49. There's a little bit of a surprise, but not quite as much as what we saw from Boston College, who finished second and ran this 10:47 without having the national caliber names that any of these other programs have.
So they have a split, like a tab for splits on the live timing site, and yet they don't have any splits. Perfect. So that's just, let me double check their website, make sure they didn't post something about it.
Yeah, as I say, I'm looking at Boston College's Instagram right now. Nothing.
Yeah, let's see. John Thomas, nope. Oh, here. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily say. Yeah, it doesn't say. Yeah, I said it in the First Thoughts article, and I'll say it again. Boston College had no business running that fast. They just didn't. Iris Bergman's like a good name. Imogen Gardner's a good name. But like none of these names are good enough to be running 10:47 as a collective unit. They're just not. Doesn't mean that, I think they're not talented, but they shouldn't be running 10:47. So this was an incredible result for Boston College. I can't believe they're probably going to get into the national meet with that performance, unless something crazy happens. Let's see. They currently sit at NCAA number 4, but yeah, and it's just crazy. I'm stunned that they got it. So, anything else though on these?
Yeah, nothing else. I think the rest of these performances were fairly as expected. Villanova, I think, is the only one there one just to emphasize good run there. On the switching back to the men's side, Haptem Samuel, 7:37 3K.
Cool.
He's fast. On the 5K, Kelvin Chariot, 13:15, beating Helsinki Kipkore, who ran 13:15, Ernest Chariot 13:17, and Rogers Kip Limo, 13:18. That 13:18 put him at number 10 on the national leaderboard, which should qualify him for the national meet. So we got 4 men there that will be at nationals. Anything from these 4 guys that kind of piqued your interest when it comes to the postseason?
Very similar to what we mentioned with the women's 5K at the Husky Classic, which is Kelvin Chariot, Florida, aerobically dominant, monstrous, like willing to be aggressive with the pacing. Helsinki Kipkore, kind of like a little bit of a hard guy to gauge. Like some performances are much better than others, and back and forth. But again, another guy who's just naturally very talented. Ernest Chariot has never been great on the indoor oval, at least not tactically. This feels like a true step in the right direction. 13:17, Rogers Kiplimo finally translating his 10K success to the indoor oval in the 5K. All of these guys have like tons of raw talent. And usually, as is the case for most international names who don't often compete on the indoor oval prior to coming to the NCAA, it takes some time for them to kind of refine and better understand tactics and how to race on the indoor oval. But for Chariot and Kipkore to kind of come in and immediately have like run so well on the indoor track, and then Chariot and Rogers Kiplimo beginning to showcase their full talent, it's like one of those things where it's like, as long as they have a ton of natural talent, they will thrive in a fast race at the national meet.
Yeah, and how do you think the national meet's going to go for the men's side?
I think it'll lag a little bit, but I do think someone like Langon or someone's going to push this pace.
Yeah, Haftum or someone. It's like, what do we think? Like 13-15-ish winning time?
Probably. Probably.
Yeah. Which again, hey, it's not going to be the same way they ran these 13-15, 13-18, right, as this past weekend, but it does show you, hey, they have the aerobic base fitness to be able to hang and compete at the national meet. Moving on to the women's 3K, we saw Shalana Yildiz 8:42 once again having to run the 3K due to the same issue at the New Balance Indoor Grand Prix as Marco Langon had. Won in 8:42, beat Jenna Hutchins. 8:44, Hilda Olamame. 8:46, Hayley Burns. Another good run from her this year. 8:48. Who did you learn the most about in this race?
Hutchins, okay. 100%.
Yeah.
Did not think she had that in her. She has a tendency to run really well in late regular season time trial type races, exactly like this. I still didn't think she'd run 8:44. There was a level of turnover that I hadn't seen from her. This was probably pretty clearly the best overall result she's ever produced in a distance event. And remember, she was injured for all the fall months. So now she's rallying to this point and this peak. She's peaking at the right time. Like, I just loved everything about this. I'm happy for her. I'm excited for her. So I just felt like this was like a true breakthrough to be like, hey, here's the true potential and raw fitness and talent that we saw of Hutchins back when she was a high schooler.
So 5 seconds faster than she ran the 3K 2 weeks ago. Do we see her try to get a 5K time next week?
Great question. I don't know. No, I'm going to say no. I think it's unlikely.
The bar is just so freaking high on the women's 5K side that you're going to have to run 15-15. I think it's going to be difficult like, even if they feel like she's capable of doing that, to get herself in that kind of race and put it all together in that day is going to be difficult. 844, I mean, again, it's a competitive 3K field. Coming into that fresh or potentially helping out with the DMR for BYU, I think is probably where she ends up this season.
You think she runs DMR 3K
I think
double?
so. Yeah.
What would she run on that DMR? I know she ran the DMR last year, which I think she was on the 12 leg.
I think the 12. Yeah, I think she'd be the 12.
But who runs the mile then? Is it Chamberlain?
I mean, even with her, if she runs the mile, I think there's a potential that she does run the mile, the 16 leg still.
So she triple?
I think
Mile
there's a
DMR
possibility.
3K?
Yeah.
I don't think you're wrong. I just
It's a
yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah, I'll be interested. Also, like, it's very possible that, like, there's just other BYU women good enough to fill in for Hutchins so that Hutchins doesn't have to do that. But neither here nor there. I'm moving us off. Men's mile. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, but 7. 7 men run 352 in the mile, all at varying points of 352. George Cootie, the top 352 miler of them, NCAA number 7 all time. Solomon, NCAA number 8 all time. Elliott Cook, Pierre Etigobi of Cornell, Carter Cutting of BYU, Thomas Diamond of Washington, Paul Specht of Wake Forest. Let's first, real quick, start with Solomon and Cootie. What does this tell you about them in the mile?
I don't think this really tells you a whole lot about either of these guys, to be honest with you. I think Cootie, this is maybe a little bit faster than expected, but he's run a fast 1,000. He's run a fast 2K. Like, he's done everything that you would expect for a 352-ish kind of guy to do before running 352. And Colin Solomon, this isn't surprising in the slightest. I think this is exactly what you would expect. I mean, I would have maybe even expected him to be able to run 351 this weekend. So nothing surprising here, coming off of his 144 in the 8. We know he's a great miler as well. This stacks up exactly as expected.
Could Elliott Cook win the national title?
I think so. Yeah. I think we've both been big Elliott Cook fans throughout his career. He has an ability to elevate at the national level or big meets, whether it's Pac-12, Big Tens. And I mean, clearly he's one of the most fit guys in the country after this performance, putting himself at NCAA number 4 with this 352.3. Ran a good 3K earlier this year, or and during the December BU meet. Finished second in the 800 at Razorback a couple weeks ago. I feel like you have to like a lot of the things that he's doing. I mean, this is a guy who finished second in 2024 in the 1500. And like we've been talking about with the men's mile, if Gary Martin isn't himself, this is a wide open field.
Agree. I like Cook. I mean, he's run 333 for 1,500 meters in the summer of 2024. Just ran 352 after running 353. So there's recent consistency there. Highly experienced. We've seen him be just a tactical nightmare for a lot of guys. Great kick. And just really has all of it, all the intangibles that you could want. Pierre Ntagobi of Cornell, great name that had a great spring last year. People have been high on him, and he's really begun to deliver. Carter Cutting, I have said, like, he's due for a breakout for the past 2 years, and I've been kind of like just waiting for him to kind of like break out, and he finally did it. 352, Thomas Diamond, 352 has been knocking on the door of a big mile performance for the last couple of weeks here this season. He's been really good. For me, Paul Specht, I think, has been the biggest notable name. Has had good 1,500 meter, has had good mile success before, but he beat Colton Sands in a head-to-head mile matchup at Liberty earlier this season, and we've seen how good Sands is now, right? He ran 354 there, Specht did, and now he comes back to Campbell City, runs 352 high. I think there's just a lot of evidence, what we've seen from Specht both this season and prior, that say, like, hey, he's at a new level, and he's ready to go, and he's fit, and he could be really, really dangerous. I would not sleep on Specht right now.
And he dominated this race. Next closest competitor, 355. So, I mean, you put him in a competitive race. I think maybe you have some questions about, how does he maneuver around a more densely packed field that isn't all far behind him? But I mean, if he's chasing someone, I think there's a second or so left in there.
Speaking of chasing people at JDL, UNC's Michaela Page, over 800 meters, the reigning NCAA indoor national champion, over 800 meters, 2:01.1. Good result. She'll comfortably get into the national meet. Does it still feel, and she was the top collegiate in this race in a pro-laden field, but does it still feel like we're just, you just want the umph? Like, she hasn't raced a lot. This is one of the few races that she has actually contested. Does it feel like we're still missing an umph? Is it just me?
Absolutely. I mean, and this is kind of dumb, but I would have felt a lot better about this race if she just would have beaten Gracie Morris in fifth, who ran 2 flat 0.92, right? Like if you just get in that 2 flat range, like, we know she's tactically strong. This race might have just been too much for her in terms of like the winning time being 1:58. Sage Hurtaklecker, one of the best middle distance runners in the country, winning that for OAC. I think, hey, this was a little bit more than she can handle, but I still just, I agree with the oomph. Like, I just would have loved to have seen her break under 2:01 in a year where we've seen so many women go under 2 flat this year. I worry about her ability to win a national championship if she can't even get within a second of these top women when it comes to their PR or season best performances. Now, I feel good about her being able to move through the field well, use her great kick, but you got to be in contention for that kick to matter when it comes down to winning a national title. And I'm worried that she's not going to be there based off what we've seen so
far. Can she still win the national title?
I think she can, but I think she needs to put it in high. Like, we need a better performance at ACCs.
What I was going to say, I mean, is winning the ACC title, like, is that what you need to say that she's still a national title favorite?
I don't even need her to. I mean, obviously, winning it would be great. I want to see her run a faster time, because that's the thing that is. I'm not worried about her tactically. This is like the inverse of like so many people that we've talked about so far in this podcast. Of like, we just want to see them like how they do tactically against a loaded field at the conference championships. I already know what Michaela Page can do in a loaded field and tactically. I need to see that she has the raw fitness to be able to hang with these top women in the country.
Okay. Yeah, it's fair. It's fair. I don't necessarily disagree either. I'm moving us off to the final thing that we have. And again, I know we said we couldn't get to everything today, but work with us here. Men's 800 meters, a bunch of 146s. We're only going to cover a few. One of them being Tyler Edson. Who? Yes, I know who. From Virginia, from out of UVA. We were covering the Boston U Valentine Invite this past weekend, and our photographer Nick Alvarado did a fantastic job for us. He's sending us photos as the meet happens, and we're formatting them and putting them out on social and yada yada yada. And Matthew Erickson of Heat 1 wins it, and I go, hey man, we're gonna need a Matthew Erickson photo. Gotcha, on it. Awesome. Then the Heat 2 happens, and Dan Wacky actually runs faster. I'm like, oh hey man, we're actually gonna. He's like, oh okay, gotcha. Heat 4 happens. And Tyler Edson runs the fastest time of the day, I believe, a 146.4. And Lauren Colley, our social media correspondent over there with Nick, she was like, Nick was really stressing out. And she's like, Nick, this doesn't happen a lot. I swear, I promise. But a Heat 4 win for Tyler Edson. There's no way we can analyze his performance because we don't know anything about him.
I'm looking through his T-first here. Former UMBC runner, so anybody who follows college basketball knows UMBC. But ran 148 last fall. That was his
last
PR.
Spring?
Sorry, or past spring. Excuse me. Yeah. I mean, put together a pretty good season before transferring to Virginia. We hadn't seen a ton of him. He had run 148 2 weeks ago and been part of a DMR earlier in January, but had never run faster than 148.18 and demolishes that to run 146, winning his heat.
Winning the overall race.
Yeah, winning the overall race. Pretty wild. I mean, Thomas Cohen 146.83 from BU, putting together a fantastic performance in that Section 4. I don't know what they were drinking in Section 4, but I would like a sip. Really, really good performance from both of those guys.
Tyler Edson, despite everything we just said there, sits at NCAA number 13. Again, 16 guys in each individual event go. Does he get in with conference weekend with 1 or 2 more weeks of racing still to happen? Does Tyler Edson get into the national meet with a 1:46.48? And it should be noted that as we look at all of these times and all the guys on the national leaderboard, it is unlikely that anyone scratches. Does he get into the national meet?
Not with a 1:46.48. He will not. I think there's
So you
4
think he
guys that
needs
are
to
going to
run
run faster
faster?
than that.
So
Yeah.
do you think that he will get into the national meet with a faster 800-meter time? Presumably,
I
without
actually do
ACCs?
think he will, because I think I'm curious to see what he does in an even faster race. ACCs is going to should be a great race. I mean, you got a lot of top
Nick
contenders in there. You got Brian Kwame as well. I think he's going to need to run 1:46 low, and I think he's going to, because I think there's going to be at least 4 guys who run faster than 1:46.48 this conference weekend, and maybe potentially next weekend as well, right?
For the record, our 1:46.5 line of what we thought the national qualifying mark would be, 1:46.49 currently puts you at NCAA number 14. There is a very good chance that we hit this line right on the head, like perfectly.
I think it's absolutely going to be under. I don't think there's a shot.
Which I chose under. You chose over, right?
Oh, did I? I
think you did.
I don't remember. I'm not feeling good about it. Yeah, you're right. I said over, you said under. So yeah, that's absolutely going under. So you'll win that one for sure.
Men's sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Men's 800 at Tyson Invitational. Tyrese Taylor finally makes his season debut after running 1:43 in the summer months, 1:46.11 on his home track to defeat Rivaldo Marshall, who runs 1:46.3, to defeat Florida's Miguel Pontejas at 1:46.49, and then Penn State's Nico Schultz, who improves his PR again to 1:46.53. Clearly a different approach for Taylor and Rivaldo Marshall in terms of really racing, like choosing not to race often much. Do we like this approach? Does it matter? Do you care?
I don't. I mean, I think to each their own. These guys are both experienced guys. Whatever works best for them. Do what you feel like you need to.
And then finally, Penn freshman, true freshman, Joseph Socaras, who is also, I think, his nickname or his other, I don't know, but he's also been referred to as Tiago Socaras. But he just ran 1:46.28 a week after running 1:46.99. He ran 1:46.28. That'll probably almost certainly put him. He's at the national meet. He's sitting at NCAA number 10 right now this season. How dangerous is Socaras right now?
I mean, he's the classic, he doesn't know what he doesn't know kind of runner who's just like, doesn't know any better, but to win every single race at the NCAA level that he gets put in. He's been remarkable so far. I do think the inexperience will catch up to him at the NCAA meet in the rounds, but I mean, sometimes ignorance is bliss, and this kid doesn't know that he's not supposed to be doing this right now, and he's been putting together great performances. He very well could end up in the finals somehow, just because of his talent and the way that he's been able to maneuver through a lot of these races.
I'll be curious to see how Ivy Leagues go, and I'll be able to have a better understanding of like what he can do tactically. But that youth-based upside, man, I mean, there's always something about that like with certain names, it doesn't apply to everyone, but with certain names, man, they can be really dangerous with that youth-based upside. Real quick before we go, Alan Clay, 217. Do you care over 1K?
No, he's been. I think he's been that good. I'm not surprised to see that.
I agree. And Ben, I think that's it. I'll call it there. I'll call it off.
Yeah. We could probably keep going for another hour. But we'll stop it there. Great weekend of performances. I think this is the last big weekend that we're going to see for fast, like this many fast times. We're going to probably see a lot of the good DMRs next week. And then it'll be conference championships where I think we will start to learn a lot about the tactical ability of a lot of these men and women who have just run insane times over the last 4 weeks. So we're gearing up. This is the time when you learn the most before nationals. And yeah, we're taking plenty of notes.
Yeah. It's going to be, I'm already looking at next week. So very exciting. Everyone kind of get ready. We're about to have a lot of really fun stuff, a lot of great content, good analysis coming up. And of course, there's tons of analysis. Pretty much everything that we spoke about today can be seen on the site, some in-depth written content there. So with that, though, go check out YouTube, by the way. Go leave a 5-star rating and review. We have a workout with Sofia Gordiera now up on YouTube. We have post-race interviews on YouTube. We, of course, have the Stride Report podcast on YouTube. So go check it all out. But for now, that is all we've got.
All right, Garrett. Well, until next week, I'll talk to you.